Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video on this beautiful 24-foot sports cruiser called Eau Rouge. So in the last video we actually got this one running. I'll include that little clip now of Chris getting excited, and we're both very happy that it was a bit of work, but nowhere near what we thought it was going to be to get this one running. It is finally on the button. Still needs a lot of work doing to it, and in the background I've actually already done a few bits, like remove those manifolds, and they're actually round at the blasters. They're done and they're ready for me to collect. In the last video when we did get it running, you would have seen that it had a severe petrol leak. Now I've just removed the petrol pipe, and these are called, oh, what are them fittings called? Norgan fittings. And the hose place does not do anything remotely like this anymore. He said we just don't do it. He said you're going to have to go to a specialist to get that done. And even though they was a specialist hose place, so you can see it's a bit of copper there with an olive on it, and obviously that squashes inside, one inside the filter housing and the other one goes into the lift pump. But it was leaking from the filter housing end, and that is just a protective cover over the top. Actually underneath that pipe you can see it's got a braided line. So I want to move forward with this boat. Now for those of you that watched the XC60 Volvo video, I was actually off and Chris and Josh rebuilt it, and Chris said in that video, oh, I really wanted to get it done, Rob, before you got back, because I knew it'd like really cheer you up, and it really did cheer me up. And it's the same thing with this boat. We know 100% we could do that. We could get that Outdrive on there, the leg, whatever you'd like to call it. But we're not boat people. We've never done it before. And you don't break down and pull over to the side of the road in a boat, guys, do you? If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. You're a sitting duck or you sink. And that is not what we want to do. Now, Chris has always questioned this gap round the outside of this Outdrive. And rightly so. You've got to ask yourself, is that supposed to be there? It's quite tight at the top. Does it just want filling in with silicone? You've got to ask all of these questions. And the answer to that is, we genuinely do not know the answer. So I have taken steps. I'm not going to spoil it now, but the next time we do a bit of video, you're going to see exactly what I've got planned. And Chris is actually working on another project off site, and I'll plan on getting all of this Outdrive fitted on this boat. Let's see how we get on. So here is my little secret weapon. I have rung Wayne from Wayne Maddox Marine. This is Wayne and this is his colleague Rob. Now you come highly recommended from Gary at Reclamet, believe it or not. He was watching the boat videos. When I reached out to him, he's like, get on to Wayne, he'll come and sort that out. So I'm trying to get this done before Chris comes back, and Wayne has come down with Rob. They've just finished a job. They've come late in the day, and they're going to have a look through all the bits and make sure we've got everything there to put this back together. And you guys are going to hook me up, aren't you?
Yeah, we'll sort you out.
So Wayne, first question, it's been on, Chris noticed it straight away, and then I noticed it, and we're car guys, we've told you that. There's quite a gap here, but it's tight at the bottom. Is there something missing, or?
No, that's not a problem. So that sits on a rubber gasket that sits behind, and as you bolt the transom assembly, this bit here, into the back of the boat, obviously that squashes up against it, so it's actually meant to have that's sitting right like that. That's not a problem.
So that's fine?
Yeah, that's probably been like that for a long time.
We don't need to mastic that or anything like that?
No, that'll be put on when the transom shield gets installed, so that's not a problem.
Right, okay, mate. So I guess we'll let you go through the box of goodies that we've got there.
Yeah.
You just said, sorry to interrupt, as soon as you pulled up, I was going to talk about that, but you said you think we had a touch with this boat.
I think you've done pretty well, to be fair, because these alone, I've just recently done a job, and these are about 700 quid.
What, each or for the pair?
Don't quote me, but I think it might actually be each.
Really?
So they're about 700 quid. These pipes aren't cheap, and they've all been replaced by the looks of things. You know, it looks like someone's had this apart and done quite a bit as well, so it's all been painted up, and everything looks pretty good.
Right.
So I think you've done all right.
Thank you very much, mate. We're happy with it. So I guess we'll go through all of these bits and then we'll get the leg out, just confirm that we got everything, and hopefully we can get to some degree of getting that bolted on today It'd be lovely, it really would be nice, even if we didn't complete it, but to get it on there. But I'm not going to rush you, I'm not going to push you. Let's see how we get on with it, mate.
No worries, do it.
So straight into action for these guys. They asked me to get everything out from inside the boat that we got with it, and everything out the container. They want to see it all laid out on the floor and just go through every single part. And they actually did it very quick. These guys know what they're looking at. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know. There's little bits and pieces in there, and I thought, are they for this boat? But it turns out that everything is for this boat. Even if it's been replaced, the old parts have actually been put back in. So Wayne's gone up inside the boat there, lifted the engine cover and left Rob on the outside, and they're getting straight on with it. So the good news is Wayne and Rob have just been through all of the stuff, and it looks like everything is here for it. Every nut and bolt. I've just cleaned up a load of bolts that he's asked me to clean up.
Yeah, over the top. There's a
so they're cracking straight on with it. Stayed silent while they was talking there. They're cracking on with it. Have you ever heard of a guy called Nick, Aquaholic?
Yes.
No pressure, but he's coming to do the first sea trial in this boat with us.
Is he?
No pressure, no pressure.
I think it's time to be home.
Do you know what I did say? I said, when I actually started this video before you guys come, you don't break down in a boat and pull over to the left.
No.
You're a sitting duck.
Yeah.
And if you've got a leak, you're sinking.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's best left to the professionals. But I think you actually recommended, once this is all done, reverse it down the slipway, leave it on the trailer, start it up and leave it running for a while.
Yeah, that's
just to make sure there's no leaks or anything. But
yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to interrupt you any longer. I'm going to let you keep doing your thing. If you need me to clean anything up on the wire wheel, I'm here waiting for you.
Good man.
So a little bit of a chat here. Rob was passing Wayne the tools and bits and pieces he needs. Of course, he's got to keep climbing over that engine cover every time. And I was having a little chat with Rob in between, just asking them what they've been up to today. And they'd been down at Faversham working on another boat and then come here straight after. Guys, we've got action stations here. We've got Rob working hard on the Outdrive, and we've got Wayne in there fitting the new
Bellows.
Right, let's get that right, because I called them donuts a minute ago and said I'll get a bit of stick for that. So bellow for the Outdrive and a bellow there for the exhaust. And Wayne just said that's one of the things people really do skimp on, because it's something the boat's got to come out of the water to have that done. But we're so lucky that all of these bits actually come with this boat. So we've got them here. Let's fit them all while it's there, and everything's done. Wayne also just confirmed while he was inside there that the inside of that drive has been sent off and refurbed at some point, and it looks like they've done quite a nice job of it as well. The outside one here just looks like it's been painted, but still it's all there, and it's got no plough or anything in it, so I'll let them continue on. So we got Rob here just bolting the bracket to the back of that Outdrive, and Rob down there just getting everything ready. Where it's had quite a lot of paint pot on it, he's just running a finger file through the holes because the bolts are not quite going through where the paint is so thick. So of course he'll clean them out and then the bolts will fit in. So clearly this is the difference when you know what you're doing and you don't know what you're doing, because between them they've just worked their way through it like in harmony, and they are now fitting that Outdrive. I think there's quite a lot of stuff to line up. I'm not going to get in their way. And then loads of clips to do up, bolts to put in, do up, etc. One thing they did just show me though, which I thought was interesting, I'm going to show you guys.
They don't actually have them on this.
This is the water supply to the leg, wasn't it? The hose you changed?
Yeah, that's the water supply.
So this is the water supply, and there was a brand new one in there. So they decided to fit it. That's why Wayne was inside. And you can see that's actually a seal around the outside there. And they thread all this through from the outside, pull it tight, and of course it seals inside, then they can do the clamp up. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting anyway, the fact that it's got that on the end of it and you can only pull it in one way, obviously to stop the water getting out. Let's let them carry on. Fingers crossed, it's going to be on there soon, we're getting close. So now just turning to dusk, and they are ready, and you can see lifting it up there. They've just got 2 blocks of wood, so they've got a large block of wood to get it up there and get the main shaft in. I was asking them the questions while I was doing this, and then they lower it down onto the lower bit of wood to actually get the bolts through the holes that Rob cleaned up previously, and I think they're pretty much there with it. So we're not going to see a thing now. Obviously it is night time, but it's only 6 o'clock. But that is what I like. Wayne and Rob, I said, what time do you finish? They said, we don't have a set time. So just like myself and Chris, you work until the job's done. They've had to stop. There's no anodes for the props. So he's going to order them in for me, and then the props can go on. But the leg is all done, and we'll have a look at it in the morning. Huge shout to you guys. Thank you so much. No worries. And of course, there'll be a link in the description for Wayne's company. And you do servicing, repairs on pretty much anything. Yeah. But you specialise in Mercury?
Yeah, Mercury, Mercruiser.
Mercury, Mercruiser.
Repairs.
All right, lovely. I'll put a link in if anyone's got a boat. I know you do pretty much tinker with anything, so there'll be a link in the description, and we'll be seeing him a bit later on, because I think we're going to get you down at the waterside when we do check this one out. Right, we'll be back in the morning. So a huge thank you to Wayne and Rob from Wayne Maddox Marine once again. Obviously it's the next morning, and you can see now, because you couldn't see anything last night, it was so dark. There's that new water hose with a new Jubilee clip. The new Bellows, I think he called it, with new clips. Now, we got lucky because all these new pipes, new clips, new bellows, they actually come with this boat. So we got them with it. I know some of you are going to say there's a few runs in that. Now, we did get some extra paint, so we probably will scotch that off and make a bit more of a better job of it. The only thing they couldn't do was obviously fit those prop shafts. Yeah, it does have 2. And that is because those 2 little pieces were missing. And he said something to do with electrolysis and in the water, and they rot away rather than your props rotting away. I'm not going to pretend I know the terminology for it, but he's going to order those in for us. And he did say that actually he could send them, and me and Chris could fit those props. It is quite straightforward. The props are there, they're in nice condition. All of the bolts are there, everything's there for it. So that is so nice. Can't wait till Chris sees that. He's back tomorrow, so we'll see how we get on with that. I'm going to move on and show you what my plan is, because I want to get a bit more of this done before Chris gets back. So I previously mentioned in one of the videos that I was popping down to pick up all the parts for this. We now have a new fuel filter, new lift pump, new plugs, new leads, new distributor cap. We have got all the new parts for this, new oil, new filter. The oil really needs to be hot, because it's got to be sucked out rather than dropping a drain plug. Of course, you got nowhere for it to go down there, have you? But in the last video when we got it running, you would have seen Chris fitted just temporarily these manifolds with 1 bolt, and they was quite corroded inside, and you can see these ones are quite corroded as well. And like I said, you don't want to break down in a boat. That one's actually, let me just move that wire, sorry. That one's actually a little bit worse. You can see all of the crud in there. So I actually took these off yesterday, and I sent them down for blasting. And I've just been and picked them up, and they look fantastic. Now I do need to wipe these off in a minute and get some primer on them, just so that no moisture gets into them. But as you can see, they really did blast out inside, and they've come up very, very nice. So yeah, I need to get some primer on those before we paint it, because there's no point painting that and then moving on to other bits that need painting. But I've decided, do you know what, let's have them off as well. Let's have them blasted and cleaned, and then we can get right round the back of these cut rocker covers and actually check all the gaskets. We can just go right through it. It's really going to make sense. We got all the parts. Let's get in there now and have a look. So let's get both of these manifolds completely removed and get them off round to the blasters. It looks like it is just a few bolts. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. I'm not sure if there's any underneath. Again, I need to get underneath there, but I don't think there is. We'll get a set of gaskets ordered up for it. Anyway, too much waffle already. Let's get in there and get them removed. So the only tool I needed for this was just a 15mm socket on a ratchet. They wasn't over tight. I don't think they're supposed to be over tight. There was 5 or 6 bolts there to undo, 15 mils, and as soon as I undone them, it come away absolutely fine. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. It was just literally those 5 bolts. And I've got it off there. I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I just took that off. Because once these are blasted and they've all been painted, how lovely are they going to be with those new bits on top? But looking down here, it all looks fine, doesn't it? You can see those 3 new plugs now Chris put in and that new solenoid. But yeah, I'm glad I took them off. And the gasket is there. Actually looks okay. But I guess we'll just call Wayne. It's actually a paper gasket, that is. I'll call Wayne and ask him to order that up. And these pipes are actually going quite brittle. And I don't know if you can just about see that bit of rust in there. But the pipe is actually bubbled up on the end there, and it is quite tough and cracky. So we'll make sure we change all of those hoses as well. I've done it without, I'm trying to do this just so that we can put it all back together. And as I'm undoing it, I'm not going to lie, I'm looking at that thinking, oh, shall I get that blasted as well? But I guess it's because it does need all blasting. There is, I mean, it's been sat for quite a while without any water in it, so that's going to have to come off anyway. But I think what I'm going to do is just concentrate on getting these manifolds done. All this stuff's very easy to get to and it's up top, isn't it? But yeah, definitely need to take that off and get that all cleaned out and replace both of those hoses. Let's move on and get that one off and hopefully get them round the blasters. So exactly the same this side, apart from it's got that alternator bracket. So 5 bolts out. Off with a manifold, job is a good one. I get carried away, don't I? I've taken it off. What is the point? I'm looking at it and I know all of you were screaming at the screen saying, Rob, it's right in front of you and it is 2 bolts, get it off. They are the only bits that are going to need doing. So I'm going to take them back round the blasters now and I'm going to get them done and get that water housing, thermostat housing, whatever you'd like to call it. I'm going to get all of that done. There's no reason why not. And I'm so glad I took them off so that we could have a proper look in there. Let's get them round there before they shut. And just like that, the actual next morning, I can't believe he managed to turn them round and get them done for us. I'm down at Mcneally Brown. Of course, I'm going to put their link in the description down below. Blasting, powder coating, they do all sorts here. Look how much better that looks with all that paint blasted off and a fresh coat of powder coat. I didn't bother going with red with that. I thought we'd just stick to black. It's a headache for him to obviously swap over to red, and what difference is it going to make? It's nice to see all those edges cleaned up. We are still going to have to just clean those edges up, probably with a bit of sandpaper before we put the pipe on, but it's going to seal very nice now, isn't it? Right, let's get those back to the boat. Absolutely cracking to get them turned. I dropped them there last night about 4:45 and he's got them done first thing this morning for us. And I've just finished off. I've loaded them on the boat. We're just waiting for that gasket kit. I think we're just going to put it all together in one last video, maybe. I think there's not really... we got everything there for it. Everything's done. The hard work's done outside. So it's a case of waiting for them gaskets to arrive. Then we can crack on and get all this refitted. You can see there's only 5 bolts and one of them actually holds the alternator mount as well. So we just got to bolt that back in. But I've just finished off in here with a little clean and I thought I really haven't looked in depth in this boat because it was full up with all bits and pieces. You can probably hear just a little bit of background noise, and that is I've just had a little bit of a tidy up in here, got rid of some stuff and then fired up the system, and of course all the radios working. I've just been going through all the blower, auxiliary, water pump. The fridge is even on. See the little green light and the red light there? And that is actually feeling cold. I've had it on about 5 minutes and just been, like I say, sat in here having a bit of a tidy up. It does need a good vacuum out, but of course we're going to be pulling all this out and giving it a good clean anyway. I don't know why, I just opened a few bits and just thought I'd check that everything was there and most things are working. There's no water in the system, so I can't test like the water pump, but shower pump, you turn it on. I don't know if you can hear, let me just turn that radio right down. I don't know if you can hear that. It's like a vibration noise, but that's the water pump. And then we go to engine lights. There, that's on already. And if we lift up the engine cover, see the lights on in there. And then I was playing around with the auxiliary lights up here, and of course they've all come on. I think this boat is cracking. It really is nice. So I think that I've gone as far as I can go. So unfortunately that is going to be the end of today's video. Again, a huge thank you to Wayne from Wayne Maddox Marine, and his contact details are in the description down below. He travels up and down all over the country. I told him this come from Lake Windermere. He went, oh, we was up there last week working. So it just shows you he don't mind travelling. A huge thank you to Robert Mcneally Brown for getting those turned around in record time. Absolutely incredible. Hopefully when Chris comes back later and he sees it, he's going to be really happy, because we can just crack on with this in the next video, and we're getting that much closer to getting it in the water. As usual, hit that thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Share it on all your social networking sites. And that wasn't a joke about Nick at Aquaholic. He genuinely replied to the message saying, guys, once it's ready to go in the water, I'm there. So Nick, we're going to hold you to that if you're watching. Great rest of the day, everyone. Of course, we look forward to seeing you all in Wednesday's video. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds UK. And of course, you can follow Chris on his personal one, on his jollies at Salvage Rebuilds Chris. We'll see you all very, very soon in the next one.